We need a job. Any kind of job.
Sure. No. I know you wops. Liars. Wheedlers. Allergic to work. Belly in the sun. And hands on your belly.
These hands have restored the cathedrals of Pisa, Lucca, and Firenze.
Whose son are you? We are the sons of the sons of the sons of Michelangelo and Leonardo. Whose son are you?
Who are today's Italians? Are we still the children of Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci, or no longer? Do we still have golden hands and great genius like the artisans of Renaissance workshops who conquered the world with their brilliance? Who are the Italians working abroad? Let's consider a country that straddles two oceans. Panama, where an Italian company, Salini Impregilo, has just celebrated 110 years of corporate history and success. Panama's 81-kilometer canal between the Atlantic and Pacific.
The story of the Panama Canal is certainly one Panama can be proud of, but is it a source of pride for Italy as well?
We rarely see a project in which 50 million cubic meters of rock have been excavated, in which 42 million cubic meters of concrete are poured, and 270,000 tons of iron used. That's the equivalent of building 27 Eiffel Towers.
It's an incomparable accomplishment. What makes Panama so special is its canal. A water highway that splits the continent in two, yet at the same time unites the rest of the world.
In 1869, Paris celebrated the hero of the Suez Canal, Ferdinand de Lesseps. But the great Frenchman was already looking towards Panama for a new goal to achieve building a sea-level canal. France backed him. In 1876, the Geographical Society of Paris gave the green light, and the Colombian government gave France a 99-year canal lease. 73 kilometers long, excavations planned of 120 million cubic meters, 10,000 laborers, and an estimated 6 years' work. In 1881, the construction of the canal began under torrential rains, in swamps with unbearable humidity, and with the sun beating down on an impenetrable jungle inhabited by deadly, nearly invisible killers, mosquitoes carrying malaria and yellow fever. The project proved to be a debacle, with thousands of deaths and the loss of $287 million. Lesseps was indicted for fraud and mismanagement, the end of a dream, and the project passed to the Americans. In 1904, the engineering works began. This time, a sea-level canal was excluded in preference for a system of locks to deal with the biggest obstacle, the Chagres River. Ongoing vessels would enter locks, rise 27 meters to Lake Gatun, and then descend back down to the ocean. The thing was accomplished. They could now voyage through the jungle. Roosevelt himself visited the construction sites. On August 15, 1914 at 7:10, the first ship was the Ancon, a cement transporter captained by Giovanni Constanti. The captain cut the ribbon and began the voyage that would carry him and his ship into history.
100 years after its inauguration, the canal rose to a new challenge to become a two-way route. In 2006, a referendum approved the new waterway. Deeper, wider, and faster for the ships of the future, the post-Panamax. This time, the undertaking owed its prestige to European genius, to the Grupo Unido por el Canal, a consortium of excellence. S.p.A, specialized in large-scale projects. Jean de Nul, a Belgian #1 in the world for dredging, and Salini Impregilo, the world leader in hydraulic works.
The Panama Canal decided to expand the existing canal because we were getting full. There was a lot of traffic, a lot of ships out there. Ships out there are getting bigger and bigger, so not only do we need more ships to come through, but we need to put bigger ships through.
Before, ships could carry 4,500 TEUs containers at most. One TEUs is a 20-foot container. Thanks to the enlargement of the canal, the waterway could accept up to 14,000 TEUs.
The doubling began in 2009 when we won the international competition. The project cost $3.2 billion, an engineering job considered monumental. We had the winning plan, focused on water recycling. Basically, we reuse 60% of the water. Simply stated, it's a gigantic elevator for ships in 3 steps. In 3 basins, there are mechanisms for filling it with water and emptying it. Once emptied, each one aligns with another basin in such a way as to allow the ships to pass. Each basin is a floor of the elevator, which lifts ships up 9 meters.
We never use pumps. We use fresh river water, which naturally flows down to the sea, and at the same time allows a ship to go out. It's brilliant, really fascinating.
Each basin is 427 meters long and separated from the others by sliding gates. The gates were made in Italy. From Trieste, they were transported as special cargo.
A bespoke trolley system was created to transport them from the ship to the basins.
This is gate number 1. We're talking about 4,000 tons of gate, 4 meters up above water level, and 20 to 22 meters down to the bottom.
The opening of the new Panama Canal is just the beginning of creating a logistics platform that will transform the canal area into a transport hub. Panama will be the Singapore of Central America. The Salini Impregilo group is exactly 110 years old. Since 1906, Salini has built infrastructure that has made history for the development and enrichment of countries and people.
110 years of history, full of projects and achievements. 110 years of national and international experience in each sector of large-scale works, dams, power plants, highways, ports, canals, subways, railways and airports. 110 years of work in building a great company thanks to Italian excellence that succeeds abroad. Salini Impregilo. The adventure began in 1906 under different names. Girola and Lodigiani, in an Italy where everything still needed to be invented and developed, possesses skills, strength, and imagination to build an entire country. The century had just begun, and Umberto Girola and Vincenzo Lodigiani, one from Milan and the other from Piacenza, had 20,000 lire in their pockets, and both had the same idea, to make Italy great. Built dams in Arda, in Val d'Ossola, and in Sicily. In 300 days, Umberto Girola built the Toggia Dam, then more in Morasco and in Agaro.
They were all tall for me. Imprecit first, which was part of Fiat, then with engineer Panacchioni.
In 1929, Imprecit was formed in Milan, engineers and banks coming together to give a new impetus and support to Italian companies abroad. In just 3 months, the company's capital, supported by Fiat and led by Alberto Pirelli, increased from 120,000 to 4,800,000 lira. In 1936, Pietro Salini based his enterprise in Rome. After 20 years, in 1956, Pietro and Simon Pietro, father and son, joined together to realize a bigger enterprise, Salini Construction, working to develop the future. In the same year, joining with others added to their strength. Imprecit, Girola, Lodigiani, and Torno launched a consortium for large-scale works in Rhodesia, the Kariba Dam. The trial run went well, and the 3 companies stayed together. Impregilo was formed in 1960 and was already big, with 7 billion in sales and 35 billion in contracts. At the stroke of the 3rd millennium, the world's leading infrastructure company carried the name Salini.
The moment had arrived when we had no choice but to go for it. Otherwise, it would simply remain a family operation, maybe just building 1 dam or road more. At first, it wasn't easy, especially taking over the management of the company. But all in all, I'm now extremely satisfied.
In 2013, there was an Impregilo takeover bid. On January 1st, 2014, the Salini Impregilo Group was born. 2015 marked the acquisition of Lane Industries, the leading U.S. company in the construction of roads and highways. This is the American dream, one construction site after another, and today there are dozens of U.S. states where the Salini Impregilo banner is waving. It took 110 years to build the brand with know-how and to realize something great in both heart and mind. 257 dams and hydroelectric plants, 51,660 kilometers of roads, 6,830 kilometers of railways, 400 kilometers of underground lines, 350 kilometers of bridges and viaducts, 1,450 kilometers of tunnels. This is what has made the group over the past 50 years. Present in more than 50 countries across 5 continents, with over 35,000 employees made up of 100 nationalities. The group, a world leader in the water sector and listed on the Milan Stock Exchange, has a turnover of more than $6 billion, 91% abroad, 25% just in the United States. A backlog of contracts worth $36 billion. In America, Asia, Africa, Australia, and Europe, the future speaks Italian. Better and better, and more.
What do the largest artificial lake in the US and the most advanced and sophisticated public transport system in Europe have in common? What links a water distribution project and a new subway circle line? A challenge and a name. Salini Impregilo. In Las Vegas, as in Copenhagen, the challenge is extreme. Digging down in the bowels of the earth to achieve the impossible.
The Copenhagen subway project is called Cityringen. It comprises of 22 different construction sites to create 17 stations, joined by 17 kilometers of two-way tunnel with driverless technology. It's a €2 billion undertaking. One of our construction sites, Marmorkirken, is next to Copenhagen's most important church.
What else is okay? Up around the time. By building this station, every step which we are excavating, it's a little bit of a mystery for us. When we are going stage by stage down, we don't know what are the conditions. And in the back you can see there are ongoing wall buildings, lining walls, which is one of the part of the construction to achieve the TBM break-in into the station.
This is the sound of the belt starting up. We're starting to dig. The cylinders push the machine at a rate of 50 millimeters per minute. When fully extended, there is space to mount another ring, which is 1 meter 40 long. Now here is the tunnel. There's no communication between the inside and the outside. In essence, the machine is a submarine that, rather than going underwater, goes underground, into the sand and the groundwater. The tunnel is the same one where the trains will eventually pass, and the subway user, so it has the identical safety coefficient. We're working in the finished tunnel.
The Copenhagen metro system is the largest single infrastructure construction site now open in Europe. It will provide a world-class facility, designed, constructed and implemented in every aspect by an Italian consortium.
In Europe, as in the US, the solution is born of the know-how of the personnel of Salini Impregilo, capable of designing and producing not only large-scale works, but also the very tools of their trade. As in Las Vegas, it's a vital project requiring a technical and mechanical revolution. A digger mole specially designed and built for Lake Mead by Salini Impregilo.
The community of Las Vegas depends almost entirely on this body of water, Lake Mead, and the Colorado River, which supplies water for Lake Mead, was created by the construction of Hoover Dam in the 1930s. In the year 2000, we began to experience a significant regional drought that caused the water in Lake Mead to begin to drop quickly.
We're now in Lake Mead. Behind me, you can see the white line that represents the maximum level reached in past years. Simply put, the Lake Mead intake project involves a 200-meter deep well, an underground tunnel of about 5 kilometers, and an intake at the bottom of the lake at a depth of 100 meters.
This job definitely felt some non-fiction or attributes. You start off your day going down a 200-meter shaft. When the tunnel completed, you went in 4.5 kilometers to the intake structure when you have this lake bed above you with water of up to 300 feet deep.
It's a different world, completely unlike anything else when you enter in the tunnel. It changes a person. It changes your mentality. You're in a world that you have to really love because the work is extremely tough. It's a science fiction world, a separate reality, like living in a dream.
Very large structure, and probably one of the first times in the world such a structure is going to be built and then pushed out to the lake and then lowered into place.
I have to say that one of the biggest thrills was the approach and entry into the intake. In the days before the approach, we were all on edge because we couldn't be absolutely certain that the TBM was centered on the intake with the necessary tolerances, which were 30 centimeters to the left and right.
And ultimately, the TBM was within 2 to 3 millimeter of tolerance into this intake structure, so a very big success. Technical achievements of the tunnel boring machine to go through this process was, one, for the first time in the world, 15 bar pressure was achieved for a tunnel boring machine.
Overcoming all limits, mechanical and human, working at unexplored depths, a revolution in tunnel excavation. So says the Tunneling Journal, the foremost authority on the subject. To know the terrain, the bodies of water, the materials to work with. For Salini Impregilo, that doesn't mean only large-scale works, but also great challenges, such as the one in Athens, the cultural center of the Stavros Niarchos Foundation, the new Opera House and National Library, and also the realization of the dream of a great artist, Renzo Piano.
Almost always, a project arises from the place, from the topos in Greek. And when the place speaks to you, it's so full of meaning. Like here, in this place, the ancient port of Philero, Athens' first port.
This work is to modern Greece what the Parthenon was to ancient Greece.
Among the various elements characterizing the project, there are some that presented technical challenges. The construction of the canopy in reinforced concrete, which was a critical part of the plan, was something never before realized anywhere.
Some 4,400 tons, supported by only 30 very slender metal columns. It gives a sense of lightness to the whole structure, so much so that from below, it seems that the canopy is hardly held up at all. It seems to be levitating, like a wing hovering in the wind.
This will be the National Library. All these galleries will be filled with books in full view, from here all the way up, and it will make a wonderful visual impact. Now we're inside the Opera House, one of the two main cores of the entire building. The area is about 32,000 square meters, with seating for about 1,400.
A while back, I was walking with the designer, the architect Renzo Piano, and when we went along the part of the building facing the sea, I had the pleasure of seeing in his eyes the joy of having his idea realized just as he imagined it.
For the foundation, the Stavros Niarchos Foundation Cultural Center is a testament and a commitment to the future of Greece, and also a point of pride for the whole country.
April the 2nd in Gumas on the Blue Nile is a day of celebration. On that day in 2011, the first stone was laid of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, the largest in Africa, costing 3,400 million euros. It was a social, economic and ecological revolution. The dam with its power stations will activate lights, factories and developments, a green renaissance for Ethiopia and for Africa.
It's an infrastructure that will change the history of the country and the welfare of the people. A project that will also be a life-changing experience for engineers like me.
When we arrived, there was nothing. We had to build our own road just to get to the construction site. The next job we had to do was build a 250-meter bridge across the Nile to join the right bank to the left.
The dam is Africa's largest, with a total volume of 10.5 million cubic meters of reinforced cement concrete, or CC. It will be 170 meters high and 1 kilometer and 780 meters long along the crest, for an overall installed capacity of 6 gigawatts.
We have around 8,000 workers of various nationalities. 7,500 are Ethiopian, with the rest from 23 different countries.
We consider Salini Impregilo had a lot of contribution towards the country's development.
What we're seeing here is a typical operation, spreading the RCC. We bring the material in dump trucks and then it's spread with bulldozers. Each month we increase the height of the dam by 6 meters at maximum production. For example, this month we'll reach 300,000 cubic meters, a world record.
We're now in the permanent camp, in the area designed for after work.
This is one of the hospitals built by Salini to provide the best possible health care for the workers. The workers' families too receive healthcare services here, which treat about 90,000 patients per year.
This kind of mega projects assists Africa for integration, economic integration, political stability as well.
Would you say that in some way you're the heirs of Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci?
Well, they were concerned with beauty, whereas we do something more practical in terms of improving people's lives, although maybe less beautiful.
Although isn't there also a great deal of craftsmanship in this way of work?
It is work that is done with the hands, in an age when few still work with their hands.
So in that
Our work
sense,
still
there is
done
a
by hand.
continuum with an inherited tradition.
Yes, exactly.
But we've also noticed this longing for Africa, which in the Salini family has become nostalgia for Ethiopia. When did it hit you?
Well, I followed my dad. In the 60s, he took me for the first time to see the Legadati Dam, which was, in a sense, the start of our adventure in the field of hydraulics. And from there, the story began.
And so your father played a big role in your nostalgia
huge
for
role.
Africa.
Not only in a longing for Africa, he gave me...
What else?
He gave me so much. His respect for people, his organizational ability, his vision, the dream.
He was a great visionary?
Pursuing the dream. That was his story.
The most beautiful thing in the world. For the new large-scale projects in the world are no longer in Africa. Where are the big ventures these days?
A little bit everywhere. We're now in 55 countries. We've just begun a large-scale job in Australia, and we're taking on some big works in the US. Really, big projects are everywhere.
Everywhere.
Because everywhere people are looking to improve their own quality of life. We're now seeing this, that the future is no longer a matter of governments, but consists of great urban agglomerations, which keep on growing and expanding more and more. That is, the development centers tend to...
And so the problems are very much related to development of the macro areas.
They're linked to the macro areas, and how to live in these macro areas. How to provide water, how to manage the refuse, how to provide electricity, how to ensure transport, how to connect with each other. That's the future.
And so, to handle all this, you wanted absolutely to merge with Impregilo, a move that was successful. Why exactly did you want to do that?
Well, it isn't a game. It's an industrial strategy to have a large company that makes large-scale, complex infrastructure throughout the world. One that's big enough is a business plan.
And now with the acquisition in the US of Lane Industries, you're also looking at highways. Which ones? In America mostly?
The main road builder in the US, and also the main producer of asphalt.
Therefore...
there. Combined with us, they become a global leader. And so now they deal not only with transport infrastructure, but also with trains, the subways, and waterways.
And we've seen that you're in America. At Lake Mead, we witnessed an extraordinary undertaking of yours, and uniquely yours, because no one else wanted to or even could accomplish it. How did
that entails a bit our history of expertise. Extreme engineering is rather a specialty of this firm, and always has been, both for Salini and Impregilo. And the desire to surpass ourselves is always in our hearts, in our blood. That is, the desire to face fresh challenges and come up with original solutions.
And in Greece, too, there is that radical building.
It's all extreme, because Renzo Piano is a great genius, but he likes the architecture we were able to realize.
Which is hanging by a thread.
It's strong enough. But let's say, that it shows off our work with the materials in an extreme fashion.
And you took the construction of the Panama Canal from the Americans, from right under their noses, for a fistful of dollars. How did you manage that?
With the idea of reusing the fresh water, which comes from Gatun Lake, as a sort of ecological precaution. Then, to have this apparently very simple system of siphons for reusing the water, again and again, so as not to waste the lake's precious wealth of fresh water.
So, in a way, we can consider ourselves the heirs of Michelangelo.
Well, we can say that because it makes us feel good.
No, in the sense that...
Yes, of course. We do have this gift for design, for planning and realization, which was certainly the quality at the heart of the Renaissance.
Io sono sicuro che quelli che l'hanno costruita dopo si sono messi a guardarla da qui, proprio dove sono io. Sono stati bravissimi. È un miracolo. Io brindo a te, Chiesa dei Miracoli, e brindo ai nonni dei nostri nonni che 1000 anni fa la costruirono. che ci hanno tramandato questo nostro mestiere, fatto dalle mani e dalla fantasia.